Good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock and a little. Good grief. 10 o'clock and a little bit. Okay, so let's begin with our moment of silence. All right, thank you. First item on the agenda is introduction of new residents, and we have some, but not here. So we will postpone that to next month. Two things before we get into the rest of the agenda. Two people have told me they thought I ought to announce that the Blue Angels are probably doing a flyover between 10 and 11. So if there is a lot of noise, that is what it is. And the other thing is, I had a terrible cold in August. So I watched on Zoom, and you absolutely cannot hear questions that I ask. So I want to remind everybody who is going to be answering questions, please repeat the question, even though it's perfectly audible to everybody else in the room. Okay, thank you. And now it's Adam's turn.
Thank you, Lee. Good morning. People hear me okay? Just a few updates for you this morning. One, we'll start with the apartment building air conditioning system. So we did get a report back from our mechanical engineering firm, and they provided us with about 3 options for a path forward to remedy the issues that we're having. After reviewing the 3 options, we really kind of narrowed it down to one that we felt was the least obtrusive option, and also the most cost-effective fix, and will also probably provide us with the most long-term positive benefits there. So what we're doing next is asking them to provide a proposal to get to a design to fix it, and we're still targeting a remedy for spring of 2026. So that continues to go on. Next, some of you probably have heard over the last couple of years that Felicia is planning to retire, our precious Felicia back there. So you might see that we have posted for a CFO position, and we're beginning the recruitment process for that position. So we will keep you apprised on the progress of that search. Also, a thank you for residents who participated in the resident lunches and coffees. We had a great time. I just wanted to publicly thank people again. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and hopefully we can find opportunities to do more things like that in the future. And my last announcement is just kind of like a update on the groundskeeping initiatives and the conversations we had related to groundskeeping. So first of all, thank the resident council and the residents that participated in the focus group conversations. They provided us with a great summary of the concerns. And I think that we're now in the process of trying to look at ways to organize the work related to safety and delayed maintenance and general upkeep. And we're going to have to try and prioritize that and organize it, and also look at it as we start to focus in on the budget for next year. So those are kind of my updates for now. I can take any questions about these or any other things.
Would you tell us what is the solution selected by the team for the air conditioner or the HVAC?
So the question was, what was the solution selected? And what we're really looking at right now, we have to do kind of a preliminary design, but it would be to continue to use the VRF type system, but we would have to increase the size of it This is also complicated by a refrigerant change that's coming down through EPA. So we have to deal with that as well, but also making sure that it has a hyperheating mode on it, so it's not blowing cold air in the winter. So it's a similar design. The other options that were presented were really moving fully away from, it would be changing the infrastructure. It would be, using a water source system instead, and that would be a major undertaking, and we'd have to find a place for a cooling tower. And the other one was using split systems, which would require us to decorate the courtyard with outside air handlers, and I don't think we want to do that either. So I think we had one really good option and two not so good options. So thank you. Any other questions this morning? All right, I'll turn it over to Sarah. Thank you.
Good morning. This is up kind of high, but can you all hear me? No, okay. Kind of afraid to move it, but I'm going to try. Okay. All right, just a couple of quick announcements. Marketing has a lot going on this fall, and we are printing everything in Connections with all the dates and times and details. So I'm going to run through just a couple things, but Connections has it all printed. So October 17th, we're going to do a trunk or treat. We did this last year. We had about 50 children, staff children, and friends of staff. If you all are willing to help, we will take candy donations. You can come set up a chair or a car or a bike. So if you'd like to do that, just let us know, myself, Chris, or Kevin. And the open house is going to be Thursday, October 30th. So we'll be asking if we can tour your home, and we'll have waitlist members, and it's open to the public. So all of that, again, will be printed in Connections, and see us if you have any questions.
Good morning, everybody. So it's been a bit of a slower stretch since the last meeting when we met. So much so that Kevin and I were able to slip away and take vacations, week-long vacations, separate vacations. That is, Kevin and I don't vacation together. October, however, is is shaping up to be a busier month. Since the last time we met, though, we did have 10 try-it tours and meetings. Folks from Lexington, Virginia, Rockbridge Baths, Nellysford, Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, Johnson City, Tennessee, which was actually a virtual tour, New Brunswick, New Jersey, Apple Valley, Minnesota, Asheville, North Carolina, and 2 different couples from New York. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm handing it over to Kevin.
Good morning. So we added 3 new waitlist memberships since the last meeting on August 20th. All 3 of our new waitlist members, and 2 of them were couples and 1 is single, they're all from Lexington. So that brings us to 36 new waitlist members year to date, and a total pool of waitlist members of 232, 73 of whom say they're ready to move here now. And for the first time since July of last year, we are not at this moment 100% reserved, as we've just very recently started marketing apartment 316. So we have a couple of showings this week with ready list members and hope to have a reservation on that one very soon. And our next move-in is actually tomorrow. David and Melissa Cox will be moving into cottage 1003. Although they're going to take their time moving in, so they won't actually live here starting tomorrow, but they'll be residents, and you'll start seeing them more in the dining room, and you'll see them moving things in little by little, and I think they'll actually physically be full-time in 1003 probably sometime next year. So, but I'm excited. David, as I'm sure most, if not all of you know, is credited as being one of the founders of this community. So exciting that 40 to 30 years after he had the idea that he's going to become a resident here. Thank you.
Good morning. All right, we've got lots going on. So if you haven't heard yet, today is our end of summer Kendall Fair. So lots of fun food, and Life Enrichment is doing games. Our hope is to have them in the courtyard. If it's raining, we'll do them inside. So it doesn't change anything. So come on down for some yummy snacks and delicious foods and time together. Borden and Webster will be joining our IL residents. So that's always a wonderful time when we can get together as a community. So we hope you'll join us. So we'll serve the menu. So if you've seen the menu, we'll be served for lunch and dinner. The only thing not available at dinner will be the fresh popcorn and the frozen lemonade. Everything else will be available. The games start at 1:30. And so we'll do a quick transition from lunch into the games. And then bring everybody on down. So that's the plan. Our next is the kitchen tours. We have one next week. It's full. Actually, all of our September, October, November tours are filled. So we will add a December tour, the 9th on Tuesday. So I'll get a sign-up sheet. I'll type everyone's name in. We'll put this out in case there's changes, and we'll add the December tour for those of you who'd like to join us for those. And then, of course, there's other stuff. So just a tidbit of what's coming in October. October 1st will be our next restaurant menu tasting. That's a Wednesday. So we'll get more information out in the menu on that. The new menu will then start the next day on the 2nd for a Thursday night open. October 8th, which is a Wednesday, is our Oktoberfest meal. And then October 22nd, we have another ice cream social where we'll gather everyone together too. So, new things coming. You know, we get bored otherwise, and we don't want you to get bored. So we'll keep doing new things. And then our next project that we're working on will be our grab and go area. So you'll see some changes coming to what's in that case, what that area looks like. And as part of that, we're going to work on our sad continental breakfast. It's really pretty sad. So we're kind of going to do a joint project to incorporate those things together. So I'll get more information out as we make progress on that, so you know when we'll do a grand reopening of that thing. So any questions? All right, thank you much. We'll hope to see you later.
All right, good morning. I'll go down my list of updates and then I'll take any questions for anything I missed at the end from y'all. First update on Dave. Dave is supposed to go back to the doctor on Friday, and we think he's going to get his "you can go back to work" note, and we might see him next week. I'll be yelling at him to take it easy, because the last 3 times he did this, he didn't take it easy and he runs around and overdoes it, and then it takes longer to heal. So talk slow and walk slow if you're working with Dave in the next week or two. I'm going to try to ease him back into work, hopefully soon. And I think Kenny will be very happy when Dave comes back as well. Right, the sprinkler and fire system project continues. ATC and Magic City Sprinkler have been heavily engaged. Magic City Sprinkler's been in the attics and working the last few days. There have been lots of local alarm components sounding as they test individual components. Those are not extra fire drills. Those are not system alerts. That is them testing the individual components while they go through. And we have found a lot of things that we're having to upgrade and need repair. So the project continues to have scope creep, pretty much like every other project probably any of us have ever done. Anthony, our preventive maintenance tech, when Dave comes back, we think we're ready to unleash him on actually doing the preventive maintenance we brought him on board to do. Hopefully that's next week, and a handful of y'all who are the volunteer guinea pigs for the first projects, you might be seeing him next week. But we'll be coordinating that when he comes in and starts his new checklists and spreadsheets to start working on that effort. Wayne has pretty much wrapped up the nurse call replacement system. A lot of the wired units went to wireless and things were moved and upgraded on the nurse call system. I'm about halfway through working up a project for us to be able to go back and try to patch and paint behind that. That is going to be a major undertaking, because if you moved in the last 18 months or maybe 2 years, we have probably a list of 15 or so standard colors. If you've been here longer than that, when I got here 3 years ago, we found one giant pile of 300 different color paint cans. That's obviously a problem. We got cited for that by the fire marshal related to other things I've talked about. So we've tried to address that, but we're going to really struggle to match a lot of the customization that was done in the past. So I asked Kenny to figure out how we want to do that. He hasn't given me his full report yet. So it's going to be a long time to get it exactly right, but you should start seeing some progress on that in the near future. The southeast corner of the trail around the retention pond going down to the dog park, we did an interim repair last week. So that steep slope where it had eroded and gotten the landscape fabric exposed has now been regraded. We brought in dirt and then it's been covered with gravel. That is a temporary interim solution. I think it's going to work just fine for a short while, and it's a lot safer to walk down there now, a lot less risk of slip. I have a nomination into the capital budget project process to do that entire trail, probably with ties of some kind on the side and a good walking surface that's contained in the middle. That's a significant project. It'll be fighting among all the others, but at least it's not the steep cliff you have to rappel down anymore at the one side. Adam talked a little bit about the VRF HVAC stuff. There are lots of other major HVAC repairs and projects underway. The cooling tower repairs just got wrapped up. If you live or walk near that, it doesn't sound quite like a jet engine anymore, so that's good. Some pretty significant component failures in both Borden and Webster. Some of those have been fixed. Some of those are ordered and not here yet. But we have a lot of actual pumps, motors, fans, things like that that are at the end of their scheduled service life or actually failing prematurely, and we're just having to run around and replace them as they go. And there's a pump for the north building's hot water system that has failed. We've identified that, got the components for that on order as well. So we'll have a lot of these kind of behind the scenes stuff, but you may see me or Cole run around looking angry, working on those. Hopefully you'll see some progress on those soon. Earlier this week, we started working on a drain repair up on Sunrise Ridge. There was an issue with some grading and a broken ground drain. We did the hand excavation up there, and when we did our hand excavation, there's a stream running through the bottom of our ditch. And we're like, where is that coming from? So we have a water leak of some kind up on Sunrise Ridge. The city is actually here this morning working with Kenny and the guys trying to find it. Right before the meeting, they were doing the chlorine test in the water to see if it's actually their water. I really doubt it's a spring in that location, but who knows? We found some weird things here before. So we'll be investigating that and coming up with who has to fix it. The city has already said it's got to be us, which I mean, we don't even know where it is yet, and somehow it's mine to fix. So we'll be working on that. We don't know if it's domestic water, fire system water, which is kind of what we're leaning towards, because if you look in one of the fire hydrant shutoff valves down in the bottom of that well, there is water, and there's not supposed to be water down in those. But we'll see what we find, and then we'll work up a repair and moving forward on that. And then we will have to grade and reseed and then put all that back when we're done. The last thing on my list, I continue to work with the State Corporation Commission and Columbia Gas of Virginia about our buried gas lines. As you may remember, we have a couple master meters that we own that then have underground distribution gas lines that mean Kendall is a pipeline operator. I don't want to be a pipeline operator. And under the new regulations and requirements, it's really impossible for us to comply with being a pipeline operator. We have to have training and certifications that aren't offered in Virginia anymore. So it's just been a real challenge to comply with these bureaucratic requirements. The state and I have a discussion once a week on the updates about, their actions and what I'm trying to do to not get, penalized and all these other things. So now we're in discussions with Columbia Gas for us to not be a pipeline operator, because Columbia Gas already is. So instead of a master meter, it might be individual meters, and then they're responsible, which is what is up at Sunrise Ridge. When those new cottages were built, instead of one master meter at the end, each one has their own, and Columbia Gas is responsible for those. That's what we're trying to get reset for our other master meter distribution things. We have 163 gas burning appliances at 68 different locations that all have to be mapped and metered and remanaged. So it's a pretty significant project. It won't be done by the end of the year. I hope to have a dollar quote from Columbia to do it, so I can put that into the capital project. Otherwise, I'll be putting in a guess and a contingency, and Felicia will be mad at me. So we'll see what happens. All right, that was my list. Any questions from y'all? Anything I missed? Yes, ma'am.
I tried the part of the ring trail the other day behind Sycamore. And I didn't realize A, how long it was, and B, how steep it was. And nowhere in that whole stretch was there anything even faintly resembling a bench. And by the time I was finished, I was exhausted. So any hope of getting some benches, at least along part of the ring trail?
All right, the question was about adding benches to the backside of the ring trail over on Sycamore. I will talk to the sustainability, and I think Anita does the benches with that we get from Trex, and see if we can get ourselves back on the top of the list for that. Yep.
That would actually
Oh,
make
there we
you
go.
number 13.
Okay.
Benches 10, 11, and 12 are already spoken for. I'll see if we can change 10, which is what we're working on right now.
Okay. So on the list, but probably won't be next week is what I think is the short answer. Okay, thank you.
But it could be this year.
That's better than the projects I work on. So she's faster than I am. Any other questions for me? Okay, thanks. Oh, we missed one. Yes, sir.
On Sunday, I popped a pizza into the oven, and suddenly the oven started smoking. And I realized that there was no vent in the apartment, an exhaust vent for the oven or for the microwave. The apartment filled up with smoke. We opened all the windows, started all the fans, hoping that it would set off the smoke alarm. We had set off the smoke alarm. How would we reassure the neighbors it's only smoke from the oven, and how do we turn the alarm off?
All right, the question was about a pizza adding smoke to apartment and what the response to that. If it goes off, it's okay, and folks are going to come and evaluate. If you want to link up with whether it's staff or whether it's fire department and say, hey, it was me, it was just burned food, not an actual fire, that will save them time. But even when we know in advance it's just burned food, we have to do the response of either staff or fire department. The lack of venting in there is actually a lot of the apartments are like that. They did not add extra exterior vents. Some of them have the interior vent with the filter on it. Some don't have that at all when they were constructed. So yes, it can get very smoky in there. Any other questions for me? I can't hear you, Felicia. Oh, correct. The last part of the question was about turning the fire alarm. It has to be either the fire department or a very small number of staff who are allowed to actually silence and turn the fire alarm off. You can't go into the panel and do that. That's a huge fire marshal violation just for the convenience of that. You have to go through all kinds of certification to be allowed to do that. So I apologize for how loud they are and how long they go sometimes. That's the state law. I have had a lot of questions about the volume of them. That's another terrible answer. I'm not allowed to make them quieter. The state law has a decibel requirement, and we have an exception that when the fire alarm goes off, we don't evacuate because of the mobility of some of our residents and because we've put sprinklers and fire doors everywhere. But there is no exception to the volume in the state law, and the volume is set to force you out of the building. So we stay here, but we're not allowed to make it quieter than the drive you out of the building volume, and I'm not allowed to change it. I've asked every single fire marshal every single time. I'm not allowed to do it. So I'm full of great answers today for y'all. All right. So, any other questions for me? All right, I'll get out of the way. Adam's on the hot seat next.
Original Adam.
Morning, everybody. Just have a few calendar announcements. And so this information will be posted, but just to give a verbal announcement for it. Number one, the flu clinic will be September 25th. If you haven't already turned in your forms to Rebecca, please do so by September 22nd. And that will be in Kendall Hall. The second vaccine clinic will be for COVID. This will be Friday, October 3rd from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This location will be in the resident clinic. And so there will be a form to complete prior to then by Monday, September 29th. So flu clinic in Kendall Hall, 925, COVID vaccine clinic, October 3rd in the resident clinic. And then the next and final announcement for this is kind of exciting for Kendall. We're partnering with Connections Plus, the healthcare hospice group locally, and the activity will be Grief to Growth Support Group. So it's a grieving support group. The title is Navigating Grief Through Connection, and it'll be a supportive environment. This will be a monthly event, the fourth Wednesday from 3 to 4 in Kendall Sunnyside. This will be available for obviously our residents. It could be available for staff. It could be available for the community. So this is a grieving opportunity. And it begins September 24th, so a week from today, from 3 to 4 p.m. And those are the announcements that I have. Any questions for health services? Yes, sir.
Scheduling a COVID vaccine administration, that the issue of the CDC resolving that a doctor's prescription is required before this year, before that can be administered. Has that all been resolved?
So as far as I'm aware, the form will give us all the information to not go through that insurance, or we will bill your insurance at that time. Looking at Rebecca in the back.
So you no longer have to have a prescription.
Right. Because the pharmacy Kroger will be administering it, that's the bypass through that. Sorry, so in order for the insurance conversation that was occurring for COVID to be administered, the way that we are doing it here, since the pharmacy has a standing order to administer it, that's how we can do it on October 3rd on our campus. Without a doctor's prescription, correct. It's a pharmacy standing order. Bruce.
I'm assuming there are different choices in the COVID boosters. Do you know yet which manufacturer is going to be offered in our clinic for the COVID vaccine?
Moderna or Pfizer, is it both? All right, we'll get out more information. Rebecca thinks that it will be Moderna. Yes, sir. Thought I saw another hand. Okay. Any other questions for health services? All right, thank you very much.
Morning, everyone. The Culture and Entertainment Committee continues to try to provide you with high-level cultural entertainment at the same time, whether that's compatible or not. But anyway, in September, we have a few things going. Now, we try to get a bus schedule for all our outside activities. There's a minimum requirement of 7 people must sign up for the bus. And if we don't get 7, we have to cancel the bus. So even if you prefer to drive, we'd like you to sign up. Now, if you sign up for the bus and you decide not to go on the bus, please erase your name from the list. We had a situation a couple of weeks ago. We had 2 people did not show up for the bus, and we had some people on the wait list who would be willing to go on the bus had they known there was a vacancy. And so, even if it's the day of the event, if you know you can't go for whatever reason, you lost interest or whatever, please come down and erase your name off the list. Otherwise, we presume you're coming and we expect you to be on the bus. So when we have a full bus, we expect everyone to show up to go on the bus. But please take your name off if you cannot be on the bus.
Now, tomorrow we're going to Jupiter Lounge. That's in the old Gin. It's the Robert Lee Hotel. I think they call it the Gin Hotel. Now, we have 4 more openings. So if you want to go out for dinner, you don't like the menu downstairs, try the Jupiter Lounge. We have four openings for that. On Saturday, we're going to the Rockridge Chorale at the Lexington Presbyterian Church. We still have 7 openings for that. So we have enough for the bus, but we still have 7 openings. So please consider that event. The lectures at the Marshall Lectures, we usually get a full bus, and we have a full bus again for next week. The piano concert at Lenfest, which is a week from Friday, we only have 6 people signed up. So if you think you're interested in attending a piano concert at Washington Lee, please sign up. We need at least 1 more person, otherwise we'll have to cancel the bus. That's a week from Friday. And then we have an organ concert at the Lexington Presbyterian Church on the 28th, and we still have 1 opening for that, so consider that. And we have a new addition to that here in Kendall Hall. Anna Belias, the pianist from Washington Lee, is coming to give a concert with Anthony Chincata, who is a saxophonist. So it's going to be a combination of piano and saxophone concert here in Kendall Hall on the 30th at 7:15. I know it's a Tuesday, so you have conversations at 5, you eat at 6, you're back here for 7:15 for the concert. This is a pre-concert. They will perform at Washington Lee on the 5th. So this is an opportunity that they're coming here to practice, I guess, to give us a pre-concert for that. October, we have a lot of things going on in October. I keep the October list posted for you, so you just have to go by the calendar there and see what's going on. We have 4 events in Kendall Hall. We're going to Southern Virginia University for a musical. We have 2 visits to Washington Lee. We also have, we're going to take a bus trip on Blue Ridge Parkway at the end of October, and we're going to have lunch at the Peaks of Otter, which is one of the stops over on the Blue Ridge Parkway. So there's plenty going on in October. And one of the main things is we have our own cabaret concert here on the 7th of October. Judy Harrison, our resident pianist here, is going to be combining with Susie Lynch, our resident soloist, with a few other residents who are going to accompany them for a performance here in Kendall Hall. So that's going to be a concert involving our own people. And so we invite you to come here in Kendall Hall and enjoy that cabaret concert. And, you know, we upgraded our piano. The piano has been finely tuned and it's been fully renovated at a cost of about $600 that the administration paid for, not us. So that piano is in good shape. And so I think Anna Belias, when she comes the end of this month, she'll be happy to hear the piano and in such good condition. And also Judy Harrison will happy to hear when she plays the piano. So that's very important. We support that. The big thing for October, we're going to Monticello. That's the mansion of Thomas Jefferson. It's not as far as Richmond, but it's on the way. And we hope to have a bus to go to Monticello. Susie Pipo has already made all the arrangements. And but we need to have a full bus. The tickets will be $42, which is the cost of touring Monticello. But we're going to, after you tour the Monticello house itself, you'll have the opportunity to go to other free tours of the campus itself. And then we'll eat lunch there and we'll come back. So it'll be a full day event. Susie, is that correct? Did I cover it? Okay, good. You're shaking her head. I said, oh, but anyway, so we hope we'll have a full bus for that. Obviously, if we can get more than 14 people, there'll be a reduction in the cost of the tour.
Exactly 25 people.
We need exactly 25 people, 14 on the bus, and we need another additional people to sign up who can carpool. You can carpool there and meet us there to get the reduction on the cost of the $42. But otherwise, we're set. We already made reservations. for that. And so we hope you people will sign up for that. If you haven't been to Monticello in the last 6 or 8 months, now's your opportunity to go. I can.
There will be an article.
Yes, there'll be an article in Connection tell you all about it, and Sue will be able to answer all your other questions. So that'll be a major event that we're have. We hope we can, and then and of course the Blue Ridge Parkway next month as well. Any questions on all the activities we're doing? Thank you very much.
Morning, everyone. As I usually do, I looked at the agenda for this morning's meeting when it was emailed to me. And there I was with Paul Cormier ahead of me and also behind me. Here's the agenda. I thought, why not make some funny remark about a sandwich? Me, the steak in the middle, what you pay for, and Paul toast on the outside. But no, I said to myself, can't do that. Paul is so sensitive, you know. On to the serious stuff. A report on 2 upcoming Kendall College programs. In October 15, 22, and 29, in Kendall Hall here, at the usual time of 4:30, Jill Fraley, a Washington and Lee Law School constitutional law professor, will give us a program called Constitutional Law, Structures of Authority and Power. She'll have 3 lectures, the first on the executive branch, the second on administrative agencies, and the third on the judiciary. This is a very topical program, and I hope you'll all be here for that. Then we're doing something new and different. Starting in November, we will have on November 12, December 10, and January 7, 4 weeks apart, giving you time to read what will be talked about on each of those days. We're doing that 4 week apart so you can read or reread the great American novels that will be presented on those 3 occasions. November 12 will be The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It will be presented by James Lambert, who is the new Director of Lifelong Learning at WNL. That's a fairly short book, 159 pages. And it's the 100th anniversary of its publication. And coincidentally, I'm sure you read in the paper this morning or on the news that Robert Redford died, and Robert Redford played Gatsby in the movie of that same name. Then on December 10th, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. That's 296 pages and will be presented by Janelle Gertz, professor of English at Washington and Lee and the most recent past chair of the English department at WNL. January 7, Beloved by Toni Morrison. It's the longest book, 324 pages. That will be presented by Michael Hill, who is the director of the Delaney Center at Washington and Lee, and coincidentally, the husband of Lena Hill, who's spoken here several times. You may read articles about both of these in Connections in the October issue. And because this is sort of an experimental program, if there's sufficient interest in it, we'll do another set of 3 great American novels maybe later next year. don't often talk about who the members of our committee are, but we have two new ones that have joined the committee this year. One is Rob Fury, who used to be the Director of Lifelong Learning at WNL, and he's a non-resident member of our committee. And he is responsible for organizing the program on the novels. And the other new member, Sally Wyant, was the one who recommended Jill Fraley to speak on the Constitution. And she's now not only a new resident, but she's a new member of the Kendall College Committee. And as a final reminder, don't forget that this afternoon at 4:30 right here is the second lecture by Jochen Arndt of VMI talking about South Africa. And I trust all of you will be back for lecture number 2. Any questions? Yes, Sally.
I wonder whether you could institute some kind of a subscription so that those of us who like to go to all of these could pay up front for the year instead of writing a dozen $10 checks.
If you're like I am, you're writing a whole lot fewer checks now than you did when you came to Kendall. And look, oh, I thought it was printed up there. The question is, as I understand it, can't we have a 1-year subscription for Kendall College and pay in advance? We'll think about that in the committee. And I wonder if anybody else is interested in that. Let me see a brief show of hands. Okay. Well, from our point of view, everything we can get money in advance on is always a great idea. One of the problems, Sally, is we don't know what the programs are going to be at the end of the year when the year begins. Well, thank you. That's a good advertisement. Any other questions? Thank you all.
Thank you, Hardin, for not taking up my time at the end here. I'm a member of the nominating committee. It was appointed by the council to select potential candidates to serve on the residence council for next year. As we know, Lee and her council are completing their normally 2-year tour on the council, and so we'll have a new council for next year. And myself, Ted Burrows, Helen Staley, Carolee Chamberlain, and Doreen Fosen-Logan were on the nominating committee, and we met about 4 or 5 times to come up with the most qualified people, the most qualified who are willing to serve. And obviously there's a lot of qualified people here, but we have to find those who are also willing to serve on the council. And luckily we're able to find these people. And the first one, the potential nominee, well, the nominee for president is Bob Harrison. Is Bob Harrison here? Come forward, please, so they can see you. Please come forward. Vice President, we have Dennis Cropper. Dennis, are you here? Come on forward. Stand in line here so people can see what you look like. Then we have the treasurer, is Mary Elena Ward. Is she here? I'm sorry, we forgot our secretary, who will continue on as our resident IT member as well, Vic Crane, as secretary. So you have to go and keep in order now so they don't get confused about what position you're in. And then we have 3 members at larges. We have Anita James. Anita, she'll continue her 2nd year as a member at large. You can stay there over here. And then we have James Comstock, who's moving from secretary. Got the name right? It's C-O-M-S-T. Okay. She's going to switch over to be a member at large. And then we have Catherine Brown, who's also agreed to serve. Catherine, where's Catherine? She's not here? She's not here. She agreed to serve as member at large. Now, these are our nominees. These are the people who have agreed to serve. We agreed to double their salary of the current membership here. So they agreed to serve once they heard that. But in November, the residents members will be asked to, by acclamation, to select these people. That gives you 2 months to decide, do we really want this group of people to serve in our council for the next year, maybe 2 years?
And find a replacement.
And yeah. If you raise an objection, please do. Please let one of the members of the nominating committee know that we really don't think one of these people, we have women over here and men over here, should serve. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. I didn't see her. Well, Vic, would you step back, please? If you don't think they should serve for whatever reason, you know some hidden information that we don't know about, please let us know. And then you will have to serve in that position, I'm afraid. So that usually precludes any discussion. But in November, you have 2 months to decide whether these are the people you want to serve for next year. So these are your candidates. Please consider them and think about it. In November, we'll ask you to, by acclamation, because we never vote on anything, by consensus, to have these people serve. Any objections to so far? Please, thank you very much.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Morning. You know why I'm here, trash pickup. We are going to be going out on Enfield Road and picking up trash September 27th. That's a week from Saturday. We go out at 9:30 in the morning and we pick up garbage for about an hour and a half. We come back. Most of you will have a chance to take a shower and we reconvene for a celebratory lunch downstairs in the dining room at noon. And Paul has taken over the entire sign-up board. So I have put a notice and sign-up sheet on the table across from the mailboxes. So I encourage everybody who is interested to come and sign up. If you have questions or concerns, call me. If you're new and you don't know too much about our process, give me a call and I can walk you through it. I also have to give new people a short briefing. The DOT mandates that. Any questions? Good. See you all out on the 27th at 9:30 a.m.
What are you showing?
Oh, rain date. Rain date the following Saturday, that would be the October 4th. Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the official agenda. Anything need to come up from the floor? Then we're done for September. See you next month.